a trailer for tonight's film, which starts at 6 p.m. and is called Gasland. The movie that we're showing tonight, I gotta give you a heads up, is super controversial. This has become like a political disaster for a lot of the people involved in the film, and I guess HBO caught a lot of flack for showing it. People say that it's really biased against fracking. The director of the film is the first to admit that he really is biased against fracking. So I don't really think that anybody is lying to you with this movie, but just so you know, and I do want to be fair in disclosing this, the movie is very much anti-fracking. You may remember hydraulic fracturing, a way to break up the reservoir rock to release natural gas. Okay, here comes the trailer.
In 2006, filmmaker Josh Fox received a letter in the mail offering him $100,000 for permission to drill for natural gas on his land. He knew that in 2005, Congress had passed a bill exempting gas companies from environmental regulations. He wanted to know what impact the drilling would have on his land, so he took his camera across the United States to discover the truth about hydraulic fracturing.
The method of gas drilling they use is called hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. It blasts a mix of water and chemicals 8,000 feet into the ground. The fracking itself is like a mini earthquake. The intense pressure breaks apart the rock and frees up the gas.
6 states have documented over 1,000 incidents of groundwater contamination.
It bubbles and hisses when it comes out.
I was thinking, Bill, whether we like it or not.
It's a free-for-all.
Our water was good before they started drilling. And when they got done, it was bad.
Obviously, we have a problem here. The Colorado Oil and Gas Commission is aware of the situation and will probably be doing some additional testing in the area as soon as possible.
There's been concern raised about the methods to tap these valuable resources. They've been characterized as environmentally risky and inadequately regulated. Such reports are not accurate.
The neurological effects are very insidious. Everybody was sick, including me. I have these lesions in my brain. You get pains all in your body.
If you were able to do this hydraulic fracturing, how much more would we be dependent on foreign oil and terrorism?
I have one quote here from you that says that you're trying to do this in a way that doesn't damage the environment. You also said recently that water contamination is inevitable. Yeah, I mean, that's contradictory.
Despite documented health risks and environmental impact, hydraulic fracturing is spreading across the globe.
It's amazing that what took Mother Nature millions of years to build can be destroyed in a few hours with this heavy machinery.
What it's doing is searching for a problem that does not exist.
It's not supposed to.
As you may have noticed, the music is like super drama, and the thing about people lighting their tap water on fire is pretty compelling. When they talk about the diseases and the illnesses, I think that's where the congressional hearings started, because nobody knows which chemicals are being used, and some of the chemicals that you think are being used are known to be carcinogenic, but nobody tells you which chemicals they're using. It's like a trade protection. It's like a private mix of chemicals, so you can't really tell you. So exactly, it's like a secret patented mixture, and nobody knows how to deal with that. Okay. Personally, I just don't like fossil fuels, so for me, this is sort of up my political alley. I don't really want to get all up in your face about your politics. I do recognize the film has a bias, but it's really powerful and actually really good. Like, it's a well-made documentary. It's won some awards. Right. Do you know roughly how long it is?
It's 1 hour, 40 minutes. It's tonight at 6 p.m. Any more brain busters for me? Okay. If we are done with that, I believe I'm ready to answer any math questions you have about the energy use inventory. Anybody have questions about the energy use inventory? I will help you with your math, but this is the last chance. And this is guaranteed to be on the AP test. There's always this type of math on the AP test. Yeah. So that's the energy usage. But we have to make that into kilowatt hours because it just depends how much your body is operating. In 1 hour, you would use 80 watt hours. In 2 hours, you use 150 watt hours. 4 hours, 320 watt hours. In 1 day, use 1,920 watt hours, which is AKA 1.92 kilowatt hours. You feel me, Don? You multiply the 80 times the number of hours to get your kilowatt hours per unit of whatever number of hours you're talking about. You are mumbling to your water bottle, but I will let it there. You can if you want, whatever, bro. You just 0.008 kilowatts, golden. Any more brain busters for me? Yeah, can you write a cursive, please? Okay. And no, I cannot. Okay. So I'd like to continue with our onslaught of alternative energy note-taking. You are period 3, not mad students, so I think we've gotten pretty far. Where were we? Just after hydrogen fuel cells, what a relief. You get to watch me draw today. It's going to be horrible. I have not been more excited.
So we already talked about hydrogen fuel cells?
Yeah.
In number 30, did I tell you that the formation of water is spontaneous because oxygen is always in the atmosphere? This is clean, but hydrogen gas is very, very difficult to come by on its own. We can do that, but it takes energy. And remember Tim Stoffel, there is no such thing as a free lunch. It takes more energy to make the hydrogen than you get by changing it into electricity. So today, making hydrogen gas is just a waste of energy. The hydrogen fuel cell doesn't make sense unless you can get hydrogen gas as a byproduct of something, or unless you need to store energy somewhere, then you can put it into hydrogen and then you can use the hydrogen. Okay. Anybody want to talk more hydrogen fuel cells? Because I can keep going. But if you're done, I'll move on. Anyone? Bueller? Yeah?
Any possibility of technology advancing anytime soon?
Yeah. So one technological advancement that we're getting really close to is types of algae that produce hydrogen spontaneously. So all you got to do is grow the genetically modified algae, and they just go fart out hydrogen.
Something like that. You're like, you're leprechaun.
Well, this is not commercially readily available yet, but it's in development.
So it isn't the leprechaun lunatic fringe of science thing, but it's going. I mean, people are on it. The hope would be that we could have these greenhouses with giant vats of algae, and those vats of algae would just bubble out hydrogen. You could just put that into a pipeline somewhere. The other thing is, if we have, like, solar power, if you have a whole bunch of electricity left over, putting it into batteries is not very efficient. If you can use extra solar power to make hydrogen in your house, you know, playing with hydrogen gas at the domestic level is kind of shady. But if there was a way to do that safely, then that would work. You know, you could just build up your hydrogen supply, and then at night you feed that to the fuel cell. Fuel cell is not the only way to use hydrogen. And by the way, we already use hydrogen for like chemistry and I don't know, feeding leprechauns or something. I don't know what else to do with it. But as an electricity source, I believe hydrogen fuel cells are the only way to use that. Okay. Any other mumbo jumbo about hydrogen fuel cells? Number 31 is easy. It's like the fastest drawing you'll ever make. Hydropower is just a clogged river. So 31 is hydro. We've talked about hydro before. Water is renewable. That's the good news. The baby Jesus always makes rain. So we're always going to get more rain. And the dam is just clogging the river. So if we clog the river, we will always refill the reservoir. At the bottom of the reservoir, there's a turbine. As the water flows through the turbine, it generates electricity that you put onto the grid. So good news, water is a renewable source of energy here. It's always going to be coming from above you. That's good. We like that. The flip side is they fill up with sediment. No dam lasts forever. And second problem, fishies hate. The poor little pececitos, they have trouble swimming uphill when they have like a 600-foot obstruction. We get a lot of our electricity this way, about 2.5% from the U.S. Or more. Anybody remember what that was actually at the beginning of this unit? The first thing we did in class?
Like 2.78.
Yeah, I remember that. 2.8. And like I said, it's really nice having a fuel source that you don't have to worry about. Like, even in a drought, you've got some water, and you can store extra water, so next year, if it's a dry year, we've still got all the water left over from this year. So hydroelectric is way better than fossil fuels and stuff. I mean, we can spare some fish. Climate change kills everything. So better than the alternative in many ways.
Is there?
Yeah, bro.
Is there any way to pump the accumulation of silt and whatnot out of the bottom of the dams?
In some cases, yes, but in our largest reservoirs, the scale is pretty staggering. The Glen Canyon Dam receives, as a yearly average, 2 dump trucks of sediment every second.
Oh, wow.
And it's a 30-odd-year-old reservoir, so you've already accumulated, like, we did the math in class once, it's like 60 billion dump trucks.
That's not really, like, they dredge the harbor because they dredge the dams.
They could, but for those big reservoirs that have accumulated such a tremendous volume already, like, compared to what they take out of here at great expense, it's like, I don't know, millions of times worse.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, don't quote me on these numbers, but it's staggering. Like, the numbers don't make sense.
So when the dam fills up, is it just done?
Basically, and nobody knows, because, like, we just haven't gotten to that point yet.